Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the BodySlam TNA IMPACT Review. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. He allegedly has no relation to Steve Macklin. He's a fifth rascal, Burt Macklin.
That intro is what great intro as always. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
We got a lot to talk about because we didn't cover No Surrender, so let's do a little bit of No Surrender first. I feel like the system had a great showing during No Surrender. I mean, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers won their match against Kevin Knight, against the Intergalactic Jack Setters, so that was a really great thing for the system. Wouldn't you agree?
I would, and not to look too far forward, but yeah, the system are definitely on a roll right now.
They definitely are. Also, too, ABC successfully defended their tag titles against the Grizzled Young Vets. Like, holy shit, that match was great.
Yeah, what a match! It was a little bittersweet, just a minor thing. Just they didn't have a new theme song. It's not the old Bullet Club song, which I think is top tier. But yeah, they got a win in a fantastic match.
Josh Alexander versus Simon Gotch. I hate to say it, but this you were wrong about this. Josh Alexander won. This was great.
Yeah, this appears to be just maybe like a one-off. I thought they were going to maybe have some sort of long-term feud, but yeah, that was a great match as well.
Yeah, we got more teas of AJ Francis and Rich Swann. Let's see. TNA Impact was excellent tonight. Yes, we'll get into tonight's show. We're talking about No Surrender right now because we didn't get to talk about it. And then we had the TNA World Title match, the No Surrender Rules. Moose versus Alex Shelley. I think it was interesting that they had Kushida be the one to throw in the towel and not Kevin Knight.
Yes, this was, we talked about this. We both kind of thought something like this would happen. I think, did we both agree that it was going to be Kevin Knight? Is that where we were leaning?
Yeah.
But I think that in terms of Kushida throwing it in, it's an angle it's a direction I didn't think that they would go. But I'm all for it just because I didn't think it was going to happen, and I've always liked being surprised when I'm watching wrestling. I'm going to
Same.
be
And did
shocked.
you see Shelly's face when he was looking at Kushida? He was not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also found out Eric Young is going to challenge Moose at Sacrifice because he defeated Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah, and I would think a lot of people would just agree in the sense that Kazarian's going to get a shot, but I think that would be too soon for him to get his shot. So,
Oh, definitely. All right, so now let's talk about Explosion before we get into tonight's show. We're going to talk about Explosion, which we had a great match between Speedball Mike Bailey and Jay Vidal. Like I said this before, Jay Vidal is a terrific talent. He's not showcased enough. And his last match against the Laredo Kid and this match just prove how great of a wrestler he is, and he should be showcased more. They should use him on Explosion like they use Shira.
wasn't it Mike Bailey versus Jay Vidal?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. This was a really good match. The more I watch Jay Vidal, the more I want to see him on TV more besides Explosion. And then like Mike Bailey, you know what you're gonna get. Every match I think he impresses me more and more, and it shouldn't be that. This should be the case just because he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So yeah, this was a really good match.
Definitely was. And then we had Around the Ring with Gia Miller, which we learned as Mike Bailey loves to cook, which I didn't know. Very interesting.
Yeah, these segments are awesome just to get to know the wrestler more beyond the ring, like
Same, I
beyond
like
the.
that. I like them. I
Yeah.
like those segments. All right, then we got Dirty Dango versus Laredo Kid. Let's see, Mike Bailey is great. He would be great at an opponent for Mustafa Ali. I think they had a match at Prestige, which I'm so bummed because it was here in LA, so I didn't go to it. I really wanted to see that match. Hopefully, we get it in TNA.
Yeah, that would be a great match, and I'm sure. Yeah, it was good in Prestige, and I'm sure it would be just as good as in TNA as well. So yeah, hopefully we do get that match.
Pray to the wrestling gods, Moose and JBL, that we get it. So in the Explosion, we also had Dirty Dango versus Laredo Kid. I thought this was a decent match. This was mostly all about Dirty Dango and his cheap victory over over Laredo Kid.
Well, Dirty Danko continues to make me laugh. I swear. And like, I'm glad that he, I'm sad to see Laredo Kid lose, but I'm glad Dirty Dango got a win just so he's not just a comedy act. I'm glad they show that he can actually wrestle and get the job done.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what happens next week on Explosion. Now let's get into today's show. So tonight's Impact kicked off with Steve Maclin versus Speedball and Mike Bailey. Holy shit, what a match to open tonight's show. This was incredible. And I really like the fact that the Rascals came out with Mackley and they're all dressed like cadets. I think it was like Trey Miguel at the beginning. Like he was going like this. That was hilarious.
That was good shit. No, I look, you have to love how much the Rascals are supporting their new friend Steve Maclin. This team just works.
It's a pairing I didn't know I needed.
Exactly.
But it worked perfectly, if you ask me.
Yeah, and the Rascals comedy on the sidelines during the match was just so funny.
It was. So at the end, Steve Macklin basically calls out Nick Nemeth. He, takes credit for the fact that he ran Nick Nemeth out of TNA and calls him a leech, basically. But to his surprise, Nick Nemeth appears on the Titantron. Io says Rascals reporting for duty. He says great match, Bailey versus Macklin. Damn right. So like I was saying, Nick Nemeth appears on the Titantron and he challenges Steve Macklin to a match at Sacrifice. And he says the reason he hasn't been showing up is because he's been in Japan defending his IWGP Global title. Now I'm really surprised we're getting Nick Nemeth versus Steve Macklin at Sacrifice. I thought would be the Rebellion match, because I thought we were going to get a 6-man tag match with Steve Macklin and the Rascals versus Nick Nemeth and Speedball Mountain here. I thought that's what this was going.
Yeah, but we always knew we were going to get Macklin versus Nemeth at some point. And then what was that?
I said, yeah, I know. I was just selfishly wanting it to happen at Rebellion since we're going to be at Rebellion.
Yeah, but let me just real quick. Let me just say, I really like how Nemeth, the belt that Nemeth won, just because I think it fits. It just fits the collection in terms of, I think TNA's got the best set of belts as a whole right now, and so that's a great looking belt that Nemeth has. But yeah, I just want to say that real quick. But yeah, I definitely want to see that trios match. So hopefully we do get that.
Same. And then hopefully we do.
Yeah. And then yeah, of course I agree with you. If I get to see it live, that would be even cooler. So.
Right. So next we find out per Gia Miller that Frankie Kazarian is suspended and not allowed in the building by orders of Santino Marella. He's also suspended next week as well. And then Frankie tells Gia to tell Marella if he thinks that's the right thing to do. So obviously Frankie Kazarian got suspended because, for those of you who didn't watch No Surrender, Frankie Kazarian attacked the referee after he lost to Eric Young.
Part of me, because I'm sensing a trend across all sports, bad officiating seems to be, a topic of discussion, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, wrestling, pro wrestling. I think Kazarian maybe took it a little too far. I think a 2-week suspension is a little harsh.
I think so too. I think Frankie Kazarian is going to somehow cost Eric Young the title.
Well, that's a great prediction right there. I don't know why I didn't say that, but yeah, that would make total sense.
He's going to cost Eric Young the title. We get Jake Something versus Laredo Kid at Sacrifice. We learned that Jake Something is setting his eyes on the X Division title. He had a massive victory over Laredo Kid. This was a great match. I definitely do think Jake Something will be champion because he's been killing it since he came back.
Yeah, and that power bomb onto the mat was brutal. My back still hurts from watching that.
Oh yeah.
And like,
Oof.
I'm surprised that the crowd didn't get a holy shit chant, because like I certainly said holy shit watching it on my TV.
My jaw
So
dropped.
yeah, that was definitely dope. But yeah, I definitely would think that they're going that direction as well. Jake something versus Mustafa Ali.
A great match between Jake something versus the Riddle Kid. Yeah, definitely. All right, next we get the sound check with Alan Angels, a special guest Khan. And one of the things I liked about this was they touched upon their history in the design. If you notice, Khan was calling him Angels instead of Alan. And Alan Angels is basically saying that he's a big fan of Khan and he's proud of him, and he calls himself what, the big brother or something?
Yeah, he kept calling him little bro.
Yeah,
He kept
little bro.
Angels kept calling Khan little bro.
Yeah, even though he's older and much taller.
Yeah.
That's funny. And like one of the things that I really liked is that he kind of there's like I don't want to say the throwback because it just happened last week, but he talks about how he bought security so that nobody interrupts, like last week when Josh Alexander just busted in.
That was funny. I want to say I think Angels is selling himself a little short in terms of, he says that's the sound check is the best talk show in all of TNA. I think it might be the best talk show in all of wrestling. The sound check is great. Angels is a star.
He is. I have to agree. Angels is a star. We need to see more of Alan Angels, not just with the sound check, but in the ring as well. He's had incredible matches. I've been impressed with Angels since he debuted against Speedball Mike Bailey. Like, what's going on here, people? Like, he had a gimmick. Remember last year he was low blowing people?
He should be your next digital media champion.
I agree. I definitely agree. So, but this was good. This was good. And then PCO is back from the dead. He just can't kill the French Canadian Frankenstein.
Yeah, you thought it was, Khan, just beat him, and you thought that would have been enough, but we've seen like PCO is pretty much unkillable. Didn't Bully Ray pour like battery acid in his mouth?
It wasn't just Bully Ray. Steve Macklin did too. It was Bully Ray and
Yeah.
Steve Macklin. You can't kill PCO. Even Jonah had his battles with PCO and couldn't kill him. We get AJ Francis making his TNA in-ring debut and Diener versus Joe Henry and Rich Swann. But before that, as you know, we get a Joe Henry promo where he's basically talking about the in-ring debut of AJ Francis, and he wants to he has empathy because his whole family, he's talking about AJ Francis, and his best friend Steve are huddled around the TV, and that the last thing AJ would want to do is flop. And he tries to get the crowd not to chant AJ sucks, but that doesn't work. They still chanted. And as always, he says what people believe in is 252 pounds, a pure motivation. The answer to all of life's problems, what they believe in, is Joe Henry. I believe in Joe Henry. Do you?
I might be with part of the crowd that's starting to not believe in Joe Henry.
We can't be co-hosts anymore. I'm just kidding.
I'm more interested in what they're doing with AJ Francis, just because it's a combination of two things for me. One, I really don't watch too much WWE. I didn't know much of him, but I did watch and keep up enough to know who he was, and I really wasn't impressed. But if TNA's showing you one thing, they know how to bring out someone's strengths and hide their weaknesses better than anyone. So, and they get the most out of anyone, especially like people who other companies might not see the value in. So, and especially when you add the Rich Swann element, which I do think he's going to turn heel. I'm more interested in this at this point.
So a couple of things I noticed is AJ Francis kept trying to get Rich Swann's attention. He kept trying to get his attention here. And even though Joe Henry and Rich Swann were victorious, look very closely. I took a screenshot of it. I wish I should have uploaded it on the stream, but if you go back and look at Rich Swann's expression to Joe Henry at the very end after they win their match, just look at his expression. That's very telling. Like I said, small planting of the seeds for a heel turn. I do think Rich Swann will turn heel and align himself with AJ Francis. This has to be where this is going.
Yeah, same thing how you said that Kazarian will cost Eric Young. I definitely think when it comes to Francis versus Joe Hendry, Rich Swann will definitely, that's when he'll show whose side who he's aligned with, and he will help AJ Francis win. That's what I think.
I don't know if it'll happen at Sacrifice, but it's definitely going to happen sooner or later.
Rebellion would make sense because that's where AJ Francis debuted, right? That could,
So we get a little vignette by DK. It seems like they're not done with MK Ultra here.
Yeah, I think this is just more of because you knew that they were going to get a rematch, so they just kind of have to, I think, keep the story alive for that purpose. I don't think that they will win because I do think that we're heading towards MK Ultra versus Danny Luna and Jody Threat. I think that's where they should go. But yeah, that's all I really thought about this promo. It was a good promo.
See, I mentions it. Pay attention to Swan after the match, looking at Henry. Exactly, I just brought that up. Like you go back and pay attention to Rich Swann's facial expression at the end of this match. That's very telling. The heel turn is coming, people.
As it should.
Definitely. So we also find out Alex Hammerstone is officially signed to TNA, and at Sacrifice, we're going to get Josh Alexander versus Alex Hammerstone 2. This leads into Josh Alexander interview where basically before he can kind of even elaborate on his match with Hammerstone, he gets interrupted by Dango. He's like promoting his wrestling school, and Josh Alexander says he's going to go talk to Santino Marella. And they're basically going to have a match next week. Your thoughts on this?
Well, first, I think we should plug Dango's school. I don't. The name was a little long. Did you write it down? Did you?
I did not. I missed it.
But just to let everyone know, he does take Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. I do think people, and the thing is, 1 year of experience or less. So he's trying to really train the next generation. You know what I mean? So get out there and support him.
Ios is your boy Hammerstone. Awesome to see Alexander Hammerstone back in TNA. Yep, I agree.
Definitely.
It's really okay. So next we get Mustafa Ali's exhibition inauguration, and as you know, weddings, contract signings, celebrations always end horribly in wrestling, and this was no exception. One of the things I really liked was that the Good Hands, they were out there dressed in suits, and they were the ones that set up this whole inauguration, which I thought was so hilarious. And then when Chris Sabin came out, I really liked the fact that he thought that Mustafa Ali paid the Good Hands, but he says that they're up, that they support him. And I like the fact that John Schuyler fashion was like, he bought change to the great state of Mississippi, even though they were in Louisiana.
What a faction this could be I'm glad that Ali recognized that. Obviously, and you heard him in that promo. He pays them because they believe. And so, yeah. And so for me, this was almost a heel turn for Chris Sabin, because I don't know why he came out and interrupted. That seemed kind of rude.
To be kind of fair, he did cheap shot Ali, so.
I want to hear Ali's plan for the next year.
That's true. We didn't get to hear his first executive order because Chris Sabin interrupted.
Exactly.
IOS is a new cabinet 2.0.
It's almost the way that Ali emphasized saying the campaign. I like that name. If that's the name, because the way he said it, I was like, okay, that's a good. I wouldn't mind that because yeah, the cabinet's already stolen because that was a great name.
Yeah. All right. So.
Oh, well, real quick, did they announce for next week that trios match? Are we getting Sabin and Kevin Knight and Kushida versus Ali and the Good? Did they announce that?
I thought it was a sacrifice. They announced it for sacrifice.
Okay, what a match that will be. Again, it's just furthering the fact that someone needs to be paying attention, and we need to get some sort, whether it's us in New Japan sharing their belts. We need a trios belt in TNA.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I also said trios for sacrifice. We need some sort of whether like we share the never open weight belts. I'm pretty sure that's what the New Japan belts are called. But yeah, more trios matches. Oh, Ali versus wow.
Next week. Yeah, that's gonna be a great match. Great match. So yeah, Kushida and Kevin Knight came out to help Chris Sabin. Joseph Gonzalez, hey. It's kind of telling that Shelley wasn't out there. Very curious to see what's going to happen with Kushida and Alex Shelley in the time splitters, in Time Machine.
Again, this took me by surprise that Kushida had his back because they also could just go that Kushida thought it was the right thing to do and he's not turning heel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Alex Shelley could be the one to turn heel and, just blame him. You know what I mean? Because I also think that could make sense.
Yeah. But wait, if Alex Shelley turns heel, wouldn't they split up the Motor City Machine Guns?
You don't have to split them up. They could just, kind of take a break without saying so, doing their own thing. Or they both could turn heel.
Okay. We'll see where that goes. We get an announcement from Ash by Elegance. We find out she's having her second match next week.
What 1 week will do. What a complete 180. This was so much better than last week. So much better. Just the overselling of her just having her second match and the way she said it like it was a big deal, which now I think it is a big deal. Like I'm almost there with this. This was tremendous.
Yeah, me too. I'm liking Ash by Elegance. Yeah, I want to see more of her, But I feel like it's the typical TNA booking. You put them against jobbers and then you slowly phase it out until they get a real rivalry going. Ash by Elegance.
You could say that until our next match because are we on to the women's match now?
Yeah. Hold on, give me 1 second. Looking forward to watching Ash by Elegance. Second match on TNA. Me too. So we get Zaya Brookside versus Tasha Steelz, and this was an interesting match. I'm really liking their rivalry. They've had 2 great matches. This was a rubber match. They each have a victory over each other, and the winner would face Jordynne Grace at Sacrifice. Now, I was kind of like, say Zaya Brookside's still kind of new. I'm not sure they want to make her lose, but you also don't want to make Tasha Steelz lose twice to Zaya Brookside either. So I really like the way that this match ended. Ended it with a double count out, because both ladies went at it outside, and then Jordynne Grace said that she came out and said that she would give each of them an opportunity. So it's going to be a triple threat at Sacrifice.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying. Like, Zaya's had a big time rivalry, to start her TNA career. Tasha Steelz is a former tag champ, a former world champion. And yeah, I think this booking is perfect because now you can have Zaya take the pin in the match because it really doesn't hurt her. It's not like she's lost a ton and she's just starting a career. And that way you can protect Tasha Steelz in terms of, because you want to have her still someone around the main event scene and someone viable that you think can be a world champion again. So yeah, this booking was fantastic.
Next week, Ash by Elegance will grace us. Yes. Joseph seems to like Ash by Elegance. Hey, I'm digging her gimmick too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Joe.
By the way, just want to say on behalf of TNA fans, thank you, Sting. Yes, Sting wrestled his final match on Dynamite last. Actually, no, he didn't wrestle his final match. He's gonna wrestle his final match this Sunday at Revolution. Who can forget? Who can forget the Joker Sting?
You can't. What a legend.
Yeah. Rhino challenges Crazy Steve to a no DQ match. You know, I have to say, I'm a little disappointed that this is no DQ match because it's been a while since we've seen a dot combat match. I was really hoping it was going to be a dot combat match.
I just like the idea of them having. I don't know if this is the first title match they've had on Explosion since they brought it back, but I really like that. It's just making Explosion seem important.
Joseph says Sting will get bamboozled at the pay-per-view. LOL. He probably would. I personally wanted to see a dot combat match. I mean, who can forget that timeless spot with the Sega with Joe Henry and Moose? That was hilarious. That was hilarious. We get a 6-man tag match. The System versus Eric Young and ABC. I thought this was a really great main event. Very telling that it was Brian Myers that pinned Chris Bay and the System was victorious. So perhaps a little bit of foreshadowing here with the System holding all the gold. If that happens, we gotta get some gold on Liz. She can't be left out.
Well, just the fact, and then yeah, maybe send us some royalties. I think we called this one, and then yeah, just the pin, the finish just sets up for them getting a title match, and I do think that they do win, just because there's just something about factions holding all the gold. That image, it always looks really cool, and yeah, hopefully, yeah, let's get Alicia some gold.
Yeah, some tag team gold.
Yes, like you said, I would like that. Bring another woman in, and have them win the titles.
I think he did come out on TV. But yeah, so overall tonight was a solid show. Like holy shit! Like No Surrender was fantastic. This week was fantastic. I cannot wait. The build to Sacrifice is great, and it's only a 2-week build. Literally this week and next week, because next week is already the go home show.
You know, let me just say, because there was a few things that stuck out on this episode to me, that just in terms of, you had the incredible announcement of TNA signing Hammerstone, and then just the booking in such a short 2-week turnaround from No Surrender to Sacrifice, and it just makes me think that if people were watching and kind of had any doubts, this kind of showed that with just like the system in terms of the group, you know, the TNA system is still in place. You know, Scott may have left, but the talent, the creative, the people in the back, one person left, but a lot of people, most of the people, everyone's still there besides one. And I think that them signing Hammerstone and then just this great booking should put a smile on people's face and be like, okay, we're still all good.
I could see Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards wrestle against Chris Bay and Ace Austin at TNA Sacrifice. Depends on what, because it's literally next week is the go home show, so I could see that if they wrestle at Sacrifice, it could be for the tech titles, or it might just be a non-title match. We'll see. It really depends, but I definitely do think that they will face them for those tag titles. If it doesn't happen next week, it'll probably definitely happen at Rebellion.
Yeah.
IOS's system is on a roll. The system works always. Yeah. Trust the system. Anissa says, great people to be hosting a TNA after show. You two are wonderful. Oh, thank you so much, Anissa. Thank you. It means a lot. You're kind. We really appreciate your kind words. All right. So I don't know about you, Bert, but I personally felt that tonight was a fantastic show, top to bottom, all around. People have got to stop sleeping on TNA wrestling. If this has not sold you TNA wrestling, I don't know what else to do. What about you, Bert?
Yeah, again, I think it's the best weekly wrestling show, just in terms of getting the most out of everyone. Every show is balanced. I don't know why. If you're not watching TNA, I don't know why you haven't been already. The year just started. This is a perfect time to get on the bandwagon of TNA.
Yep. As we get ready to sign off, Burt, where can people find you?
Just on Twitter at BurtMacklin11 or X. Exhibit.
You can follow me on X or on Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days, at Datila_. I talk about all things wrestling. I have my own YouTube channel where I cover Raw, SmackDown, AEW, Dynamite, and Friday Night SmackDown. I thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. IOS's next week is a great time to watch, exactly because next week is a go-home show to Sacrifice. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for...
I was going to say, I made a great point. And what a great time to sign up for TNA Plus. The value. You know what I mean? The value that you're going to get for it. Yeah. And there's already another show next week. So
Exactly. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week for the go home show to Sacrifice. Bye.